Hello everybody and welcome to Forever Rugby on SuperSport. And the Six Nations is finally upon us. International rugby is back this weekend with the first round of the Six Nations, which will see Ireland taking on Wales, Scotland taking on England, and France taking on Italy, which is on a Sunday. So some very interesting games. Obviously, the first two games probably the more sort of interesting one. I reckon the game of the weekend is probably this one, Scotland versus England. A fixture which in recent years has been dominated by the home side for tomorrow. However, historically have always been pretty one-sided with regards to England, who are currently probably the favourites for the tournament. So quite a lot of sort of side stories and anticipation coming into this game. England expected to do well. However, Eddie Jones has been quite clever in that he's been very much sort of trying to play off the favourites tag and saying that, in fact, you know, it's actually Scotland who are the favourites given the fact that their recent history and playing at home and etc. etc. Before we look at the two teams, please do smash like on the video and subscribe to the channel as well. Let me know who you think is going to go all the way in the Six Nations, because I think we're going to be in for quite a good one. I think England are looking pretty good. I think that France are looking pretty good. The Scottish side is a very exciting side. I think, you know, they're a side that likes to throw the ball around. They're a side that likes to be very expressive. And often it comes down to sort of the form of the likes of a Finn Russell, of a Stuart Hogg. I think Ali Price is a very good game management player. And then you've got Ireland, who are dark horses regardless of whatever form they are in. You know, if they're playing well, they often come into tournaments as favourites. But even if they're not playing particularly well, they're a side, as we saw last year when they beat New Zealand, that when they pitch up, they can beat anybody. And I think there are some seriously good Irish players. So you've got to look at them as well. And then Wales, who've actually won a lot of Six Nations in the last few years, so you can never also write them off. However, in terms of this game, the Kolkata Cup tomorrow, it'll be refereed by Ben O'Keefe from New Zealand, and the assistants will be Nick Berry and Craig Evans. And this is how they will line up for tomorrow. So this is how Scotland will line up. Obviously, they'll be captained by Stuart Hogg in the number 15 jersey. But then if we look at that side, a lot of big game winners, a lot of very important players for Scotland, and you know the likes of a Hamish Watson, you know, Six Nations, one of the best players in Six Nations last season. He'll be very important for this weekend. But starting at the front row, with this Rory Sutherland, George Turner, and Xander Ferguson. Quite a lot of experience across those three. I think Rory Sutherland's the least experienced, but he's already got 16 Test caps to his name. So, you know, plenty of experience there. And a lot of experience in the second row. Johnny Gray is back for Scotland and starts the number 4 jersey and is next to Grant Gilchrist. The loose trio is Jamie Ritchie, who is the vice captain tomorrow, Hamish Watson, and Matt Ferguson at the back. The back line is a very exciting back line. Ali Price partners Finn Russell. Then Duan van der Merwe will be looking to continue his monstrous start to international rugby in the number 11 jumper. The centre pairing will be Chris Harris and Sam Johnson. Darcy Grant's back on the side, the number 14 jumper, and then obviously the captain, Stuart Hogg, at full back. If Russell and Hogg have a good game tomorrow, I think Scotland could very well win it. I think, you know, it can be as simple as that. You know, I think that they are both players who, on their day, are potential game winners. Off the bench for the Scots, it's Stuart McInally, Pierce Schoeman, and Via Pinel, the two South African-born props there. And then it is Sam Skinner, Magnus Bradbury covering the rest of the scrum. And then you've got Ben White, Blair Kinghorn, and Sione Tupulotu, who's only had one cap. He's been very unlucky not to have had more of the COVID issues during the Autumn Nations Cup, but he is on the bench tomorrow and has been playing some brilliant rugby for Glasgow Warriors over the last sort of 18 months. So very excited to see what he can do tomorrow. In terms of the way England started, they have got a new captain in the form of Tom Curry. In the front row, it's going to be Ez Genge, Luke Cowan-Dickie, and Carl Sinclair. So, you know, one of the most sort of promising loose heads in the likes of Ellis Genge, and then obviously British and Irish Lions cap players Luke Cowan-Dickie and Carl Sinclair. So it's a very strong front row. Mari Toja is joined by his teammate Nick Esekwe, who's only played 3 times for England. Starting to see a new look English side, really. You know, Lewis Ledlam there has only got 10 caps. Tom Curry the captain. You got Sam Simmons playing his 10th game tomorrow. It's a team that a lot of the fans are enjoying, you know, seeing a lot of their very sort of on-form players. And not the most experienced backline, but obviously lots of experience in the likes of Ben Young, who's got well over 100 caps for England. Slade and Daly in the midfield. Elliot Daly at centre is interesting because we're also seeing Josh Adams at centre this weekend. So, you know, a couple of not necessarily outside centres of players who played bundles and bundles of rugby at outside centre, but Elliot Daly is a useful outside centre, and he obviously has that very impressive boot of his. The two wings were Joe Marchant and Max Mullins, and then you got Freddie Stewart, who is looking incredibly comfortable at international level at fullback. Off the bench for the men from England, Jamie George, Joe Marler, Will Stewart will cover the front row. Then you've got Charlie Ewells, Alex Donbrandt, Harry Randall, George Ford, who wasn't supposed to be in the squad initially and was called up after the injury to Owen Farrell. And then you've got Jack Noel at number 23 jersey. In theory, I think on paper, you see that England's probably got the stronger side, but Scotland are at home, and as Scotland, as I said, they've got a lot of match winners there, so I think it should be quite an interesting clash. Eddie Jones is very much brushing off the favourites tag, but you can't deny that this England side is starting to look very, very dangerous. Let me know what your score predictions are down in the comments below. Please do smash a like on the video and subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steven, and I'll chat to you soon.